In the heart of Chicago, a transformation was brewing. A Democrat was about to cross the aisle. In the Windy City, I was born and bred, a Democrat through and through. My roots were deep in the blue soil of the Democratic Party, my views shaped by the towering skyscrapers of liberal ideology. But as the years rolled on, the city I loved, the city I called home, began to change, and not for the better. It was the migrant crisis that first opened my eyes. I saw the policies of my party, policies I had once believed in, leading to a crisis that was not just on the border, but right here in my backyard. The city was changing, the community was changing. And the Democratic Party, it seemed, wasn't concerned about the impact on ordinary folks like us. Our neighborhoods were ailing, burdened by the influx. Our resources were stretched thin, our schools, our hospitals, our job market, all strained under the weight of unchecked immigration. And yet, the Democratic leaders I had once admired appeared blind to the consequences. They spoke of compassion, of open borders, of freedom. But what about our freedom? What about the freedom of the citizens of Chicago, whose lives were being disrupted, whose communities were being transformed? I felt let down, disillusioned. The party I had once believed in seemed to have lost its way. It wasn't the party of the people anymore. It was the party of political correctness, of virtue signaling, of misplaced priorities. I began to question, to doubt. Was this still my party? Did it still represent my values, my concerns, my dreams? And so I found myself looking elsewhere, looking for someone who cared about America, someone who understood that to be compassionate to others, we must first take care of our own, someone who could see beyond the political rhetoric to the reality on the ground, someone who recognized that the American dream was for all Americans, not just those who crossed our borders in search of it. And so I found myself looking elsewhere, looking for someone who cared about America. Enter Donald Trump, a man whose love for his country was clear in every word he spoke. His passion was contagious, his dedication undeniable. He was a breath of fresh air in a political climate that seemed to be growing stale with inaction and misdirection. I found myself drawn to his vision of America, a vision that was rooted in prosperity and success. As a business tycoon, he understood the importance of economic growth and the role it plays in the well-being of a nation's citizens. He saw the potential in America that many others seemed to overlook. His policies were a testament to this vision. He sought to lower taxes, to remove unnecessary regulations, to empower businesses both big and small. And why? Because he knew that when businesses thrive, so do the people they employ. He recognized that a robust economy is the backbone of a strong nation. And it wasn't just about the economy. Trump's approach to leadership was refreshingly straightforward. There was no sugarcoating, no beating around the bush. He was direct and to the point, a trait that, in my eyes, commanded respect. It was a stark contrast to the vague promises and hollow rhetoric that I had grown accustomed to hearing from other politicians. But more than anything else, I appreciated his unabashed love for America. He wasn't afraid to put America first, to prioritize the needs of his own citizens above all else. It was a sentiment that resonated deeply with me. It was a sentiment that I felt had been missing in our leadership for far too long. In Trump, I saw a leader who wasn't afraid to take a stand, to challenge the status quo. He was unapologetically American and proud of it. And for that, he earned my respect, my admiration, and ultimately my support. It was clear to me that Trump was the leader America needed. But why did I turn my back on the Democrats, the party I had supported for so long? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I saw a pattern, a cycle of despair that was continually perpetuated in Black communities by the very party that vowed to uplift us. Poverty, crime, poor education, these weren't just statistics, they were the lived realities of countless Black individuals. And who was at the helm? The Democrats. You see, the Democrats have a history that they'd rather we forget. A history entwined with the shackles of slavery, a history stained with the ashes of prosperous Black communities like Black Wall Street and Rosewood, systematically destroyed under their watch. And yet, they have the audacity to speak of justice, of equality, without acknowledging their role in these atrocities. In the name of justice, where are the reparations? If the Democratic Party truly stands for equity and atonement, why haven't they compensated for their historical role in slavery and the destruction of prosperous Black communities? The silence, the evasion, it's deafening. And so, I turned my back. I turned my back on empty promises, on a party that used rap culture and pastors to maintain control. that fostered environments of poverty, crime, and poor education in Black communities. I turned my back because it was time for a change. The Democrats had failed us. It was time for a change. And yet the Democrats continued down a path I couldn't follow. A path marked by policies that didn't resonate with me, particularly in regards to immigration and an ever-growing woke culture. It seemed as though the Democrats were losing sight of the very essence of America, the land of opportunity, where dreams were nurtured and success was celebrated. Instead, their policies seemed to encourage an environment where the lines between right and wrong, legal and illegal, were becoming increasingly blurred. My frustration grew as I saw the consequences of these policies play out in my beloved home city of Chicago. An influx of undocumented immigrants, a rise in crime rates, and a decline in quality education were just a few of the issues that became more apparent. But beyond the tangible effects, there was a deeper issue. The Democrats were fostering a culture where taking offense became the norm, where speaking your mind could be considered a crime, and where law and order were replaced with chaos and confusion. This isn't the America I knew, nor the one I wanted for our future generations. I yearned for a return to sanity, to a time where we celebrated our differences, not weaponized them. A time where law and order were respected and upheld, not disregarded. And that's when I found hope. Hope in the form of a man with a business background, a man who cared about America and its people. In Trump, I saw hope. Hope for a better America, for a stronger America. And so, I became a Trump supporter.